Hi everyone, welcome back to another biogas video. It's feeling rather warm outside, so I've got my tropical t-shirt on. Despite living in temperate conditions, we're having a heat wave at the moment in New South Wales. So anyway, we're back with another biogas basics video, and this time the second part is how to actually start a biodigester. So we'll cover things like feeding, what to do, what not to do, how to maintain it, and start producing gas. So let's get stuck into it. Rightio, so there's about 4 things that you need to start a biodigester. One is to have the vessel itself. So whether you have an IBC tank or a barrel, covered hole in the ground, a concrete vessel or a bladder, you still need something to have all that digester in to start producing the gas. So the second thing is, once you've got all that, you're going to need an activator. Now typically the easiest way to do this is with animal manure. So what we need is manure from an animal that has a rumen. So the rumen is a stomach compartment that ferments all the feed, like I say the hay or the grass. So in an animal, this ferments all the food and typically creates gas of carbon dioxide and methane. So that's what we want to replicate. So if we use manure from animals that already have this bacteria in their gut, then we've got a head start. So typically ruminescent animals are cow,
Moo.
sheep,
Bah.
or goats. You can also have American bison, elk, reindeer, giraffe, but they're a bit hard to come by around here. So we just use cow. It's a lot easier. So you can use that, or you can use an enzyme-based chemical. It's something like a drain cleaner. So you can go to the hardware store and get a drain cleaner, as long as it's not like a bleach one. It has to be enzymes, actually living enzymes. So you can start that with grass and pour in the enzymes, and it will start fermenting. So the activator, the way I started it, which is most common one, is you have a lot of cow manure, and we had one of those shell pools. So I shoveled all the manure into that and then added water and made a slurry, and then we poured that into the biodigester. Now, the third one we covered about last video, conditions. So you need to have your temperature ranges. So we had thermophilic, mesophilic and psychrophilic. Given your environmental factors, you'll probably be between mesophilic and psychrophilic. If you don't know what that is, go back to the previous video, and that talks about retention time as well. So conditions, as I mentioned, for me, I'm in the psychrophilic because we are a bit temperate, and now my digesters are inside and not in the greenhouse. They take a little bit to warm up, so we're using aquarium heaters. So conditions, that's good. We just need to fill our tank up with the slurry and water. So I think what I did with mine when I first started was, so IBC tank is about 1,000 litres. So I had about 200 litres of slurry. So I had probably 1 or 2 wheelbarrowfuls of cow manure. And then I'll just put it in the pool, add some water, make a slurry, pour that in, start again, and add that. So there was a good, like 1/5 of it was slurry in the bottom of it, and then we filled it up with water up to the desired water level or full, depending on how your digester actually, where the water level is and where the outlet is. And the fourth one is one I'm not very good at: patience. So once you've got your digester set up and all your hoses and made sure everything's like airtight, and it'll start producing gas, but it will be carbon dioxide first. So what I did when I first started was I had my gas hose through the water lock, so it was in the water lock first, so nothing went back into the digester. Any gas was pushed out, hit the water lock, and then outside. Because I knew it wasn't flammable at the time, I just had it going into the environment. It's just carbon dioxide. You can't store it. There's no point for it. So, and when you start thinking that it's going to be burnable, so about 2 to 3 weeks, depending on your temperature range, your conditions, is when it will start making gas. So you test it for a while. I had a little tiny bladder. I think it was inside like a backpack, just a display bladder, almost. Or you can have like an air mattress. I started off with an air mattress and just jigged all that up, made it airtight. Capture some of the gas. A lot of people use wheel inserts, the tubes. Well, you can do that with small wheelbarrow ones or something just to start off with. So yeah, after about 2 or 3 weeks, start to trap the gas and see where it becomes flammable. Now, very important is to not make the digester go sour. A lot of people just think, oh, well, I'll put the manure in it, fine, I'll start putting food in it. It's a mistake that I did. Don't do it, because it'll go sour, it'll go very acidic, start to smell really bad, and you won't produce gas, you'll have to start again. So don't start feeding it food, like food scraps. You can feed it more manure, but don't put food scraps in there until it actually makes flammable gas. Otherwise you're going to end up very messy and with smelly stuff, and you've got to put somewhere, all the yuck in the bottom. I say it goes like yellow and it stinks. You're going to have to put it somewhere, try and compost it again. So the good thing about once it's started is any of the solids and liquids that are in there is fertilizer. You put it on your garden, you can compost the solids, put straight on plants. That's great. So that's essentially the steps you need to start a digester. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Look, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions, which I'm quite happy to answer. Just leave them down in the comments. There's probably even a few that have been answered already. So even if you scroll through the other videos and scroll down to the comments, a lot of people ask me questions on different issues on different videos. So not necessarily that subject to that video. But as I said, any questions, feel free to ask. I'll try and answer as best as I can. Like I said, I'm not a scientist or anything. I'm just some dude in a shed with some plastic tubs. I've said it before. But I do actually read some of the science behind it. I think for the next video I might do a bit of another Biogas basics of covering setup. So I've been asked a lot about my hoses setup as well. So because I've got 2 digesters, essentially 3, hooked up all together and running through the same scrubbers to my gas bag, it gets a bit confusing with hose management. But one thing I like is just valves everywhere so you can switch off. But I'll cover that in the next video. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. As I said, any comments, questions, leave them in there and I'll get it. Thanks.